Well, hello happy people. I'm really excited for today's video. I got a recommendation from a friend to check out Blue Therapy, which is a series on couples therapy for different couples. I think she was joking with me because she knows how much I hate doing couples counseling. Couples counseling is probably the worst form of therapy for me, at least. I just don't really like the confrontation of it all. It's very confrontational. You basically have to play like the peacemaker, which is very difficult to do. Everyone thinks that therapists should remain neutral and not take any sides, and yes, we want to do that, but it's so hard not to pick a side when you align yourself with someone else's opinions a little bit more strongly than the others, but still having to remain neutral. Like I said, we're only human, and it's so natural for us to just want to kind of be that person that makes the final decision, but our jobs as therapists is not to make that decision. It's to let the couples make the decision themselves, and again, to act like a gatekeeper. This video may be a little bit longer than my other videos just because this episode is so long. I may try to split it up and like just condense it really well, just because I don't want to have to review every little thing, and to be honest, I really hate editing, like literally hate it. But alright, let's go ahead and hop right in. This is Blue Therapy, episode 1.
I've been with my partner for 3 years now. Just like everyone else, we've had our ups and downs, you know, things happen. But coming to therapy with a camera for some social experiment, that's just, it's a red flag, to be fair. And now, like, she knows my perspective on this. I'd prefer we go to a church and we sit down with a pastor in a corner. But, you know, us getting to this extent where we're actually here for a social experiment, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I think it's gonna go south, like, I'm 90% sure, but...
The male, he's obviously very hesitant, reluctant, resistant to counseling. He doesn't want to be there already. This is kind of gonna be like a bad sign, just because he's not really open to hearing someone else's opinion, and he's kind of starting off on the wrong foot already.
Hello. Hi, Denise.
Come in, sit down.
Love her dress.
Hello, Paul. My name's Denise and I'm your therapist today. Have you ever been to therapy before?
Never. We've never been. I did go online. I read how important it is about, you know, having premarital therapy, counselling, and I do believe myself and Paul are in dire need of some help. I wouldn't say we've deteriorated to a point of no return, but at the end of the day, we're progressing in our relationship, and I'm not entirely happy.
I have no idea. I'm curious to find out.
Okay, that's great. Well, it's great that you're here.
I love you. You do know that, right? And I feel as though we've got different views of life. So to me, Paul is very image. He puts too much emphasis on how people perceive us as a couple, how he's perceived as an individual and how I'm perceived as an individual. Currently in our relationship, we're doing a lot of patching instead of really like fixing the issues.
I'm literally blown away, like I haven't even heard this before. Do you want to give more context to what you're actually saying? Because I'm a tiny bit confused.
Paul, for example, has a lot of friends. He has affluent friends. He feels like he has to fit in, which he might fit in as friendship, but when it comes to finances, he doesn't necessarily fit in. So if we're looking at percentage-wise and when they go out and what they spend, they can afford it. We can't. But Paul will do it anyway. And then he'll spend the next week or two chasing the bag he's blown, which now leaves me in a deficit of love. So there's neglect going on in our household.
All right, so we literally just got here. Like, we haven't been here for 5 minutes. Choma's talking about finance to the bloody Denise, someone that we don't even know. Now, first of all, there is no man that's out there with multiple accounts, crypto accounts, high interest accounts, that's gonna sit down and show his girl his balance. So she doesn't even know the financial situation first. You know what's interesting? I actually think she's right. But let me break it down for you. I'm happy and I'm humble enough to be the brokest man in a room full of millionaires. Do you know why?
Okay.
Do you know who would have the most to benefit in that type of situation?
You would.
So that's practically how I've been able to exponentially grow my income, basically.
So we see him being a little bit defensive and a little bit condescending, like asking her the question like, do you understand? You know, instead of just like explaining his side, he's really trying to make her feel like a toddler. He's really going for her intelligence here, and she kind of doesn't feed into it. She just goes right back to Denise and starts talking again about, you know, their situation. He's very wishy-washy. In the confessional video, he was saying, why is she telling her about business, this and that? And then here we see him say, yes, that is correct. So obviously he's saying things and meaning another thing or thinking something different. And I think he's just trying to put on this facade that, you know, he's the one that is the victim, or that he's the one that is in the right to this Denise person, and is really trying to sway the counselor into believing in him and not her.
Do you know what I mean? We're in a relationship. We're not business partners. So I'm suffering for nothing.
Do you feel that it's an equal situation?
She just said she's suffering for nothing. Okay. So am I nothing?
That's not what I said. It's like your comprehension. This is why we're here, because anytime I bring up at home, he dismisses it.
Really?
Okay.
It is very difficult for him to take any type of feedback about himself that he doesn't agree with or doesn't like or is in a negative light. And so we see him becoming very defensive. He's, you know, smirking, saying like, okay, yeah, sure. Instead of like adding to her or like really trying to figure out what it is he's doing. He doesn't think he's doing it wrong. He doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. And so that's why whenever his wife or girlfriend has something to say about their situation, he kind of just like brushes it off because he doesn't find her opinion important. He's starting to give me a little bit of narcissism vibes just because of the emotional and like mental manipulation that I've already noticed. And also because, like she said, he does value his image, their image. He wants her to appear to be like this perfect person. He wants to appear like this perfect couple in front of other people, but really they're not a perfect couple at all. You know, they argue a lot, and she tries to talk to him and he's very dismissive. So he's having a hard time accepting feedback about himself. He's all about the image, the appearance of things. He's spending their money and blowing through their financial situation so that he can appear to be this like super person in front of, you know, other people.
The type of people that I deal with, they're on another level, to be fair. They're high net worth and they work really hard for themselves. Now, for me to be able to kind of be that act of service for them, you can imagine how hard I have to work. If they're calling you, you need to...
To be fair, in his case, what he's saying is fairly accurate. If he wants to make it in his career, he needs to appeal to certain types of people and be on their level in a sense. However, there's also the notion of him being maybe emotionally neglectful to his girlfriend and not really being present in their relationship, and that is what she is bringing up. And it sounds like he's starting to understand a little bit. I can see some genuine interest there, but I hope he's really taking it in. All right, looks like another couple is coming in here, so let's see what their situation's about.
For this social experiment, I'm quite excited. I'm happy that Jamel is using this initiative and wants us to be part of this. There's a few things that I do want to get off my chest, so it'll be nice to speak to Jamel, speak to the therapist, and I'm excited. I don't actually understand how Jamel is late. He's the one that has brought me to this whole thing.
The men are
and
always
you're late.
late.
I'm sitting here, I don't know the lady, I look very stupid, and Jamel is late. We've actually been together for a year. I met Jamel at one of his fitness events. So my sister also does fitness, so they were doing a class together. And then we met, we started talking, and then now we're here. Yeah. So he has had therapy before, and he thought it was really good and helpful. So I feel like that's why I'm open to doing it.
And right off the bat, they're both very open to therapy, which is a good sign. Maybe they can actually take something away from this session. And so this is going to be a good session for them.
I think there's a lot that we need to work on. An example of today is Jamal's lateness. I work a 9 to 5, he does fitness, so our timetables already clash. But whenever we plan to go on like date nights or we go church together every 2 weeks, he's always late.
To actually set some foundations and actually blossom from this beautiful relationship that we've got. We started great. Relationships do have rocky parts, but it's nothing too big, I guess, to get over.
Yeah, this is my first relationship, and yeah, going strong a year.
And what about you, Jamal?
This is my 4th relationship. Hopefully it's my last one, to be fair, so looking good. Several times.
Do you communicate that you're going to be late?
Of course.
What about last week when you were supposed to come to my house?
Yes, we changed the time before then. So, Denise, this is the situation. So, originally the time was for 8 p.m. Then I realised I double booked with another client. So I gave her the up.
Yeah, that's already an issue. We had pre-planned.
So obviously, you know, there is some issues with his time management. He's having a hard time owning up to that. He's having a hard time acknowledging it and accepting it. And she's kind of saying like, well, this time. It sounds like this is happening or occurring often, and that's why she's upset. It's not like it's just happening once or twice and then, you know, he's at least sending a message. It sounds like majority of the times that they want to hang out, he's late or he has to reschedule or something's going on. So he's having a hard time managing his time, but also a hard time accepting and acknowledging that.
We had pre-agreed that we were going to see each other on this particular day. Why are you double booking?
Things happen. Like, I do have clients across the pond.
Can I just ask a question? When you are going to be late, do you communicate that? Do you let her know?
No.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Okay, so the last time we invited me to have dinner, I communicated that with you.
He told me 5 minutes before the time that he was going to be late.
Oh.
That's inappropriate.
Deborah just always complaining about me being late. Like, she just feel like she's been controlling. Like, she doesn't take consideration of my time, where I'm coming from, what I'm doing before. She just wants to set the time and expects me to get there. They ain't gonna run.
To be fair, I thought I did, but now I'm thinking to myself, like, does she trust, do you trust me?
What?
Yes or no?
I do trust you.
Okay. If you trust...
My only issue with this male, I keep forgetting their names, there's too many couples. I keep feeling that he asks questions, like really easy questions that don't need to be asked. Instead of feeling like he should explain himself, he wants to question other people. You know, it's, again, it adds to that like condescending nature that he has about him that makes it really difficult for me as a therapist to sympathize with him just because of how he's acting. Obviously, there's something that he's hiding. There's more emotions. There's something deep there that he's not talking about and he won't talk about. Instead, he wants to probably shift blame onto his partner and just kind of ignore everything that's happening. She's literally saying to him that he needs to show her more attention, emotional attention, that she wants to experience more affection from him and that he's not showing it enough for her standards. And he's just saying, well, do you trust me? Like, how does that correlate to what is being talked about right now? Instead, what he could have maybe responded back with is, you know, I don't mean to make you feel that way. I'm very busy and I maybe just overlooked that fact of our relationship. And, you know, and be actually concerned about her concerns. Instead, it's like he's more concerned about himself. He is more concerned about maintaining the routine that he has already set up for himself and he's comfortable with it. He doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to do anything that may affect his career or his focus on his career, but I don't think that he has to change that. I think that he should be able to show her the emotional affection and attention that she's looking for while also being concerned about his career. And like she said, there's a balance there that's missing and he's just not grasping that. He's not understanding what she's saying because I don't think he has concerns or cares to listen. I'm really starting to lean towards the fact that he may be narcissistic, and narcissists have a very low regard for other people's cares or concerns, wishes, stuff like that, because they're so concerned about themselves.
Now, this is the problem that I have with women, right? Like, for example, with Choma and I, when we first started, she knows I'm hardworking. I was doing XYZ, what I had to do, okay? Everything was fine. She was happy, I've got a hardworking guy, okay, hug, kiss, okay, cool. Nowadays, when I'm coming back late, the same person's complaining, asking me where am I coming from? And I'm thinking, what? Fair enough, I don't work overtime and I'm doing other things on a different level, but I'm the same person, so why would you question it?
Can I just ask, what's the last loving thing you did for
Denise?
Yeah, Denise.
Look, we're not going to play the whole turn each other against each other. When's the last time you bought flowers? Look, forget about all of that. Let's get down to what it is now. Just to briefly go over this, right? As far as I understand, you've been called, or employed rather, to basically help us in our relationship to get better.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? Now he's lashing out at the therapist because she's starting to point out his own inconsistencies. She's starting to confront him a little bit, and all of a sudden he's shutting it down. He's like, nope, you're not turning us against each other and this and that and the third. He's starting to feel the pressure of being wrong. He's starting to feel like he's being put into a negative light. But really, what's being brought into light is the truth or the reality of the relationship, and he can't stand it. He can't hear the feedback. And so he's trying to lash out, and he's projecting his own negative emotions right now.
So how do you think you're doing so far?
Okay, first, don't be rude.
No, it's a genuine question.
That's uncalled for.
It's a genuine question.
Okay, I can answer that, Shema, don't worry. The fact is that I'm here to enable you to see through the fog that may be there at the moment. I'm not here to give you an answer. I'm just helping you discover what's going on.
Okay. What's your success rate in terms of like couples that have been to your therapy sessions and have gone on to get married? So the question, what's your success rate? I need percentages. I deal with figures.
I'm afraid I don't work in figures. I work in people, and when people come back, it's because they're seeing results. So as far as I'm concerned, things are working.
So if we came back to your session, that means it's working?
Well, you sign up for a certain number of sessions, and then we discuss whether you need to do...
So there's more than one?
He's being very rude, and I really don't understand why. She's just doing her job. I'm quite happy with the service we're getting so far, so I don't know why he needs to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, me and my mum, we have a bit of a, what would I say, here and there relationship sort of thing. So she's gone to her friend Mansa and just told her about the situation. I'm thinking it has nothing to do with your friend.
So this issue that they're going through right now is really about their personalities. She's a very open book. She's, talkative, and we have, people that have their one friend that they tell everything to, or one person that they tell everything to. And he's more reserved. He's more quiet. He doesn't want some of those details about himself or his family to go out there, and he has every right to think that way, or to want that, or to ask or request that she stop talking about things that are relating to him. Now, in terms of their relationships, I do think that talking to another person about maybe some of the things that you're going through in your own relationship is not you talking about them in particular, but you just talking about things that you want to get off your chest. And I don't see anything wrong with that. But also, like, if you're just starting to date and stuff like that, those are some of the things that you kind of want to talk to your partner about. Like, how are you about being in a relationship and talking to a friend about things that are going on in that relationship? How do you feel if I talk to someone about this or that? Are you private? Are you reserved? Do you not care? Are you okay with me being open and stuff like that? Because that can actually become a serious issue in a relationship. It can be very debilitating to a relationship. So it's very important to find those things out early on.
Yes, he earns significantly more than I do, but he doesn't finance me, all right? So if you're talking about me becoming a housewife, clearly, because you're talking about finances and me bringing something to the table, what's wrong with being a housewife? Was that the plan we had when we first met?
It's a genuine question.
I don't want to be a housewife. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't want to be a housewife. I have a choice. Does that make sense? If I wanted to be a housewife, I would have become a housewife. That's what you keep pushing for me to do. That's not what I want to do, babe.
Over her.
Okay.
Denise. Okay, so that's basically the gist of episode 1. Obviously, I have a lot of concerns about both couples, but for the first couple, with Paul, my biggest concern is that he's starting to want her to be this like housewife figure because he likes to be in control. He wants to have control over all the finances so that he can have a control or a say in everything that Paloma has or does. And I don't think she should fall into that trap. He will have literally the fullest control. He wants to manipulate her. He wants to be able to have control over her movements. That would be my biggest concern for their relationship. And also the fact that he's just not really taking in what she's saying. He's trying to listen and see his perspective, but his perspective is that he's not in the wrong and he's not going to take accountability. She's been taking a little bit of accountability here and there, but there's not really anything that he said that she's doing wrong or that she's wanting other than more of his attention. For the second couple, we're kind of seeing the same issues there, is that she is wanting more attention from her guy and he's just not, really seeming like he's interested in the relationship. So for that relationship or that couple, I would say that the biggest concern is that they're gonna fall through. They're a very new and early relationship, and so they may not have built the strongest connection just yet, and she's feeling a little bit neglected in terms of her needs and attention. And for him, he's feeling that she's, you know, becoming a little bit clingy and demanding, and he's not sure if he wants to commit to that. So he's having commitment issues, and I see that this new relationship may be falling apart based on those things. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Oh my God, this video is 40 minutes long. I'm gonna have to edit all of this. Oh God, I'm not looking forward to editing this long video, but if you guys liked it, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so that when I post the next video, you'll be there. And I'll see you next time. Bye.